Okay, these are the details on the Nikon D850, but specifically I wanted to show you a shot here. This is a perfect exposure. Yes, a perfectly calibrated exposure using the exact same lens between the Nikon D850 and the Nikon D810. You'll notice something on the left, and that the saturation is higher. Specifically, it's harder for light to pass through the infrared pass filter and through the lens and have the same SNR. But if you're able to improve that by changing the design of the sensor, then you're actually able to have better dynamic range, better signal to noise ratio, specifically in blue light and green light. You'll notice over here on the left on the D850, and I just got done doing a calibration on the D850 for testing dynamic range, which I'll show you in the next video. Here it is right here, actually, D850 dynamic range, which has a beautiful curve. 3 stops over, 3 stops under, and perfect exposure. You'll notice the D850 has more vibrant blues, more vibrant greens than the Nikon D810 does. It's like, well, why is that important? I mean, well, it's actually quite important. I mean, you're thinking, well, it's a newer camera. It should be better. Yeah, but the main thing that you're forgetting is that the pixel pitch on the D850 is identical to the D500, which is relatively small. You don't think, what's the difference between 4.8 micrometer on the D810 and 4.2? And the answer is quite a lot. Even though the Nikon D850 has a smaller pixel pitch or smaller eyeballs on the sensor, because it uses backside illuminated sensor technology, which you can actually see here on the left. This would be the first Nikon sensor, i.e. in the D850, which uses BSI. The wiring circuitry that actually clocks the signal, i.e. the image, off of your sensor has been located in the conventional on like D500, Nikon D810, D800, D750, yada yada yada. All of this infrastructure is blocking the light. This is underneath the micro lens array and the color filter array. So the light had to reach the bottom. In the backside illuminated sensor, to make it really simple, the light only has to reach the top underneath the micro lens and the color filter array. The circuitry has been moved to the bottom, so the circuitry is no longer blocking the light. And what this means is, pay close attention, is that you can create a sensor with smaller eyeballs. In the case of the D850, smaller eyeballs. Same pitch as a D500, but a D500 is a conventional sensor. D850 is the first backside illuminated sensor for Nikon. You're able to create a sensor with smaller eyeballs, yet has better gain, better saturation. I've reported that the Nikon D850 is the best straight-out-of-camera images out there of any camera that I've used, and people have actually mentioned the the Fujifilm GFX. Well, that's something different. Well, the straight-out-of-camera images might not be as super perfect as the D850. I mean, you have more dynamic range, a much larger sensor image, which has to be enlarged less, so ultimately there is more potential in that large, so nothing beats a large sensor, period. New sensor tech or old sensor tech. But you can actually see here, due to the fact, this is like a nocturnal animal evolving with slightly smaller eyeballs and yet having better resolving power. And that's and decent lighting. You choke a camera off of lighting, then it's going to perform badly. You stick a BMW, a Lamborghini, a Volkswagen on a muddy track, they're all going to perform badly. And this is why really, really low light tests, high ISOs are not ever a true judge of a camera's character. You know, you could take the best singer in the world. If he's got laryngitis, it's like, well, he sucks. It's like, no, he's the best singer in the world. He's just got laryngitis right now. So everybody that wants the really, really low light test, they're really not looking at the appropriate thing. Given perfect exposure, which usually doesn't happen, but let's just say decent light. Given decent light, we've got better saturation. Most importantly, on the blue-green channels, which is where it gets choked off the quickest on the D850, even though it has smaller peepers than the Nikon D810. Also better dynamic range, but I'll report on that in the next video with the dynamic range testing that I've done and calibrating it for the Sekonic and the Sekonic software and the Color Checker X-Rite Passport for checking dynamic range, for specular clipping, and shadow clipping for professional light meter calibration. So here it is right here. I'll give you the link below. It's rather obvious. I mean, if you can't see, the D850 is a lot brighter and more saturated, then you need your eyes checked. The difference is substantial. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, you always make a small donation. Tell me to jump off a cliff, whatever makes you happy. I will continue to test the D850, and I'm going out to shoot right now. Thank you. Bye.